The Shaheds launches took place almost immediately after Putin's night speech. In it, the dictator rejected the truce for 30 days. The Russian aggressor offered to negotiate new truces and did not extend the ceasefire on Victory Day.
We suggest starting without delay. Already next Thursday, May 15th, in Istanbul, where they were held before, and where they were interrupted.
Therefore, Putin offered direct negotiations to Ukraine and rejected the idea of a 30-day truce. More precisely, he didn't even mention it. The Kremlin leader announced his readiness to resume direct negotiations with Kyiv without preconditions. In his speech to journalists, Putin also called the so-called special military operation a war instead of a 30-day pause in hostilities of the proposed coalition of willing. These are the United States, France, Germany, Poland, and Ukraine. The Kremlin took a different path. Again, drones, missiles and shelling. The aggressor offered Kyiv to resume negotiations in Istanbul on May 15th without preconditions. The rhetoric is the same as in 2022. It seems to be a kind of peaceful gesture, but in fact a diplomatic game for the United States and Europe. Let me remind you that then the Russians came with a list of ultimatums, which included denazification, rejection of NATO, recognition of the quasi-republic, a second Russian state language, and a number of other cynical demands. Putin also thanked the North Korean military and said a phrase about, I quote, the huge losses of the armed forces of Ukraine during the 3 days of the truce. Now let's see if the West will really impose the sanctions that were discussed the day before. On the night of May 11th, Russia again attacked Ukraine with Shaheds. For several days, the enemy did not launch drones due to the alleged truce on May 9th. But although the drones and missiles did not fly, the occupiers fought at the front and shelled the border areas. On the outskirts of Kyiv, combat work on air defense against enemy targets continued that night. There are downed targets. No hits on critical infrastructure facilities were allowed. This was reported by the Kyiv Regional Military Administration. In the Brovary district, a man born in 1954 was injured as a result of an enemy attack. A person has received an acute reaction to stress and is in a state of shock. All necessary medical care is provided on the spot. A country house was also damaged and 5 private houses were damaged in the Obukov district. Operational groups continued to record the consequences of the enemy attack.